The story begins in a place that is desolate, dense, and most dangerous of all, a forest. Behind the tall trees, rocks, and bushes, something lurks, something invisible yet present. Now, for the first time, two people appear in the story, a boy and a girl, rock climbing. As they climb higher, they engage in light-hearted banter. The girl's name is Haley and the boy is Rich. They are climbing like a couple, but then the girl reaches the top, while Rich is still hanging on. As Rich tries to climb higher, he suddenly feels the rope pull as if someone has grabbed him. He panics and calls out to Haley, but the next moment is so terrifying that even the onlookers tremble. A force pulls Rich away and the rope begins to drip blood. The girl, Haley, sees this. She tries to get down quickly, but below, some shadows that don't look human move towards her. She runs, screams, but can't escape. When the camera cuts, all that is left is screams and silence. And this is where the real horror of the fear of wrong turns begins. Now the story shifts abruptly. We meet Chris Flynn, who is training to be a doctor and is on his way to an important medical interview. He is in a comfortable car. Everything seems normal, but then he encounters a terrible traffic jam. Chris doesn't want to be late for the interview. So he asks a local petrol pump owner, who tells him about a shortcut through a small forest that is deserted, old, and hasn't been used in ages. But Chris has no other choice. He sets out on that path. As he progresses, the forest grows denser. No traffic, no sound, just the rustling of trees and an eerie silence. Suddenly, his car collides with a stalled SUV parked on the side of the road. The car is badly damaged. Chris gets out and looks around and finds a group of people already stranded there. This group includes a smart and brave girl, Carly, a bit flirtatious but timid, caught Carly's boyfriend, Evan, who is always joking, Frankie, his girlfriend, who is always in a romantic mood. They had all come there for camping, but someone had slashed their car's tires with a blade. This means it wasn't an accident. No, everyone is stranded in the forest. There is no way to get help, no hope. Chris and the others decide that some will go further into the forest to find help, while the rest will stay near the car. The story now splits into different parts. Evan and Frankie, who stay behind, grow closer in the silence of the forest. They put on some music and spend a few romantic moments. But then the camera slowly pans to reveal someone secretly watching them, someone who doesn't appear to be human. Their joy is quickly transformed into death. With a strange, animalistic scream, someone attacks them. First, Frankie disappears. Then, Evan is dragged away, and the next time we see their faces, they are only bloodied corpses. Meanwhile, Chris, Jesse, Carly, and Scott, walking through the forest, spot a dilapidated wooden cabin. They think they might find help there, but when they enter the cabin, the sight leaves them stunned. Blood stains on the walls, severed limbs on the table, slippers and clothes, as if someone had murdered and chopped up people there. They realize this is no ordinary cabin. It is the den of a cannibal. But before they can escape, they hear voices. The devils have returned. Three distorted and terrifying faces. One Eye, who is missing one eye. 100 Tooth, who has teeth made of iron 3-finger, who always laughs in a strange way. Their faces can send shivers down anyone's spine. These people are not humans, but mutants. They may have been born human, but now they have become devils. Their only hobby is hunting humans. From here begins a survival race in the woods, where every step is a shadow of death. Chris and the other three quietly escape the cabin, but the three monsters pursue them. They run hiding in the bushes, but the path becomes more dangerous each time. At a turn, Scott realizes that if he wants to save his friends, he must put himself in danger. He shouts to distract the monsters and then runs through the jungle. The three mutants attack him from behind with arrows. One after another, they pierce his chest, then his back, and finally, when he falls, his eyes remain open. At this point, the story becomes very emotional. Both Carly and Jesse break down in fear, but Chris encourages them. He says, if we want to get out of here, we must let go of our fear, otherwise we too will be found in pieces in that cabin. The three of them are trying to find a way out of the forest. Dense forest all around, sounds, rustling sounds, and an arrow, an axe, or a scary face could be heard from anywhere. They spot a forest watchtower in the distance. A tall wooden tower, perhaps the last chance to find help. Maybe the three run, making their way through the bushes, and somehow reach the tower. As they climb, they fear each step, fearing it might collapse or someone might come chasing them, but somehow they reach the top of the tower. From there, they have a panoramic view, but there are no people, no vehicles, no health. Inside the tower, they find a radio. Chris immediately turns it on and sends a distress call. We need help. We're stranded in the West Virginia forest. Is anyone listening? A voice comes in a moment. We've heard your message. Stay where you are. We're coming to help. But unfortunately, this joy doesn't last long. Suddenly, voices come from beneath the tower. The three beasts have reached the base of the tower. They have fireballs, arrows, and axes, and they begin setting fire to the tower's wooden pillars. From above, Chris, Jesse, and Carly are terrified. Flames begin to rise from below. The tower slowly begins to burn. Seeing no other way out, they decide to jump from the tower's window onto a tree. It is a dangerous jump. One mistake and death is certain. Chris jumps first and manages to grab a tree branch. Then Jesse and Carly hide in the forest, using the three trees. But now, death is following them in the forest. After a while, when they get tired and sit under a tree, they think they might be safe. But then comes the moment that makes Wongton most terrifying. Carly and Chris hide for a while, and Jesse gets separated for a bit. As Carly passes a bush, an axe suddenly strikes her in the middle of her forehead. Her body trembles. Her eyes snap open, and within moments, she falls to the ground. The mutant snaps her neck as if breaking a toy. Chris and Jesse are watching from hiding, but they can do nothing. This is the moment when even the audience freezes. No sound, no music, only deathly silence. Now only Chris and Jesse are left. Their fear turns to anger. Now, they don't just want to escape, they want to fight. The two use a burning car in the middle of the forest. They set it on fire and push it down a hill so that the noise and fire will distract the beasts. The plan works. The two mutants run to the car, and Chris and Jesse head for their cabin, where the remains of their slain friends and the roots of fear lie. Inside the cabin, Chris and Jesse find some weapons, an axe, a rifle, and some gasoline. Now begins the final battle, humans and animals. Chris and Jesse set the cabin on fire. When the mutants return, they think something might have gone wrong. But then Chris leaps from the roof and kills one of them with an axe. Jesse pours gasoline from the other side, setting the entire cabin on fire one by one. The three mutants scream, burn, and perish. Finally, a terrifying Chasseur mutant remains, attacking Jesse. But Chris shoots him in the shoulder, and as he falls, he too is consumed by the flames. Morning comes. Chris and Jesse are badly injured, covered in dust, exhausted but alive. They take another car belonging to the same cannibals and leave the forest. As they reach the highway, they see a boat in the distance. Thank you for visiting West Virginia, but their faces say, we'll never come back. During the end credits, a twisted camera pans back to the burned out cabin, revealing that the monsters aren't completely gone. A severed arm still twitches, and one of the mutants' strange laughs. Wrong Totten doesn't happen just once, it happens repeatedly.